is probably more applicable, especially to those of you who live in Wisconsin. We wanted to bring on, I believe you're the New Jersey coordinator for early vote action. Our audience is, of course, extremely familiar with Scott Presler. You sort of work with him, work for him. You're his boots on the ground. People may also know Paula Scanlan. You were one of the brave swimmers who fought this transgender madness, which I guess recently brought home a huge win with President Trump's executive order. I think I saw you at the White House that day. I think this is your war room debut, so welcome. We're honored to have you. But there's some really concerning developments going on with the Wisconsin Supreme Court, a race going on there. Of course, George Soros, as usual, pouring in a ton of resources, a ton of funds to try to sort of interfere with that election. I guess will be euphemistic. But can you sort of walk the audience through what's at stake there, what's going on, and then on the other side of it, we'll get into what our audience can do to help you and Scott Presler's group out.
Absolutely. I mean, there's races going around this country that we have to pay attention to. And unfortunately, after winning the White House in November, people are so excited about that. But there's so much work to be done across these states. And what's going on in Wisconsin is, of course, Soros, as to be expected, is pushing money in because they want that Supreme Court. And if they win the Supreme Court, they can go in and redistrict Wisconsin. And we can never win Wisconsin again. We can lose these congressional seats. And so that is really why it is so important that we win this Supreme Court in Wisconsin. We have to. And that's really what it comes down to. And it's just so bad that we have to be on the offense against these big bad actors like Soros. And he's done awful things to this country. And so we can't let him win. So my biggest message, I mean, there's really not much more to it, is if you're in Wisconsin, if you know someone in Wisconsin, I know it doesn't seem like it's an important year, but you have to go out and vote on the Supreme Court race. We have this guy, Brad Schimmel, running. He is the candidate you need to vote for. And we have to take this. We have to win. We can't let Soros and his big money win, and we can't allow them to redistrict Wisconsin and prevent us from losing other House seats and also losing other lower level seats as well.
Democrats are obviously super desperate since they lost essentially all levers of institutional and governmental power, right? In the last election, we've been tracking how they've sort of been outsourcing elements of the resistance, particularly to states where they have either supermajorities. I think Politico was just reporting yesterday that every day at 4 p.m. Eastern, I think of the 23 Democratic state attorneys general, they all meet on some Zoom call to try to plot and plan the resistance. And I think elections like these speak to that sort of resistance force against President Trump. You were saying that there's similar races going on across, state by state, similar kind of dark money groups pouring and piling in. Can you sort of give our audience maybe a kind of sweeping overview too of other elections that they need to be on the lookout for, or even election integrity issues where we kind of stand on that front? I know you guys are certainly on the front lines of fighting that good fight.
Yeah, well, Pennsylvania, obviously our favorite state that we've worked on with Scott Presler. They also have a Supreme Court race, and that one is equally important. We're also working, and personally, this is something I work a lot on, is the New Jersey governor's race. There's also a governor's race in Virginia this year. I mean, there's just election after election, year after year. And I think the thing that we all forget, and what I'm starting to see people, is we are so excited riding that wave off of winning so big in November, right? We won the presidency. We won the House. We had the majority. We won the popular vote, all of these different things. But this is not the time to let up. And I'm seeing people that I go out into the streets when in New Jersey and other places when we're working with these Republican voter groups, and they say things like, well, we just won in November. What do we have to do? What do you mean I have to go vote again? You have to make sure you're getting out and voting in these off years. And then bringing into next year is going to be the midterms already, which are obviously very important. We've had previous midterms where we haven't done so well on the Republican side, and we don't want to repeat that. So it's really about continuing to stay vigilant and stay voting. So our big thing, we're looking at the New Jersey governor's race. If anyone watching is in New Jersey, please go and vote. You can vote early. You can get it done. Make sure you go and vote. Same thing with Wisconsin. Same thing with Pennsylvania. We have to win those Supreme Court seats. I mean, if you're in Virginia, also vote for a Republican governor. I mean, there's elections every single year, and everyone who's watching, make sure you vote not just in the presidential years, in the midterms, but also in the off years. And that's really what we're trying to work on and encourage people to continue to do.
And beyond voting, we have a very engaged grassroots audience. They love Scott. They love everything that he's done. What can they do if they want to get involved with early vote action, regardless of what state they live in, but especially Wisconsin. The Supreme Court there is a really important race. What can they do to help you out there?
Absolutely. We're always looking for volunteers. Earlyvoteaction.com. Get on there. There are people who can go on and you can give us a donation. You can help send text messages. People were writing cards during the last election cycle. I mean, we take volunteers as well. Reach out to me, reach out to Scott. I mean, we need all the help we can get. This is the type of thing does not just get done by the big names. It is the grassroots people that get these things across the finish line. And that is really why we won Pennsylvania. It was the desire of the people in the state to do that. So if you are in one of these states where there's a race going on, you need to be active, you need to want to be involved, and you will help accomplish this. And that's really what is so valuable about all of this is it's not, again, a couple of big name people or really famous people. It is the grassroots people that get this done. So if you are watching this and you are just a local everyday person voting, you can have an impact and you can help win these elections.
Paula, thank you so much for joining us. If people want to follow you, stay up to date with everything you're working on, not just the early vote action stuff, where can they go to do that?
Yeah, I'm pretty active on X. Follow me at Paula Scanlan. Actually, tomorrow I will be there in New Jersey. If anyone watching is in New Jersey and wants to go to the Gun for Hire gun range, Scott and I will be there tomorrow, registering voters, talking to the people, and just really being boots on the ground there. And so I will see a lot of you guys out on the road in many of these states. And I appreciate you, Natalie, for the time and giving us this opportunity to talk. And I'm sure we'll have more updates in the future.
Of course. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a good one. And sounds fun. I hope the War Room Posse shows up tomorrow.
It definitely will be.
Have a good one.